Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being with me this afternoon as our silver volunteers for Hearth. You guys have all been involved with the organization since the beginning. So I'd love to hear from each of you a little bit about, why you got involved with Hearth in the first place. Maybe what's your biggest accomplishment since you've been volunteering at Hearth, and why you're still involved with our organization today. Arlene, I'm going to go ahead and start with you.
Well, I think I got involved because I've always believed in affordable housing, and I've always lived in affordable housing. So it pains me to think that there are families who cannot afford to have a roof over their heads. And I had some experience with that because when I, 1,000 years ago, was buying a house, the houses were always $10,000 more than we could afford. And so when we had $15,000, houses were 25. When we had 25, they were 35, blah, blah, blah. So we finally found a house that we could afford and we bought it. It was a big wreck, but it convinced me that it is possible to give people a home that they can afford to live in. So that's really how I got involved. When I knew that there were women and children without housing who were living in their cars, I mean, it really touched my heart. So I've stayed involved because I think the program that we put in 25 years ago has remained pretty much true to what we originally thought it should be. And I think I've seen the results of it. It's been successful, and we hear those testimonials from women who have been through the program. And my only sort of regret is that it's very small, so we're making a small dent in the problem of affordable housing and of women with children who need to have housing, but it's only that. But we're doing a good job. So I know that Brenda was there in the beginning too. So Brenda, wow, why are you sticking around?
You're right, Arlene. And it was about 30 years ago. I was working for Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, very much involved in affordable housing. Was invited to a meeting in the North Hills to talk about homelessness in the North Hills affluent suburban community. I was skeptical yet curious. I went to the meeting and was absolutely blown away at the number of organizations that were there to hear about this problem that I was totally unaware of. And I learned that there truly were women and children homeless. I was totally unaware of it and felt a little embarrassed about that, actually. There was a call for action. That's what it was, a call for action on every table at this meeting, and I wanted to be a part of that. And maybe a very short time later, I became a member of the board, and we were looking to develop affordable housing. And of course, it's history now that affordable housing was built in Hearth. And I tell you, I stay involved because of the passion of the volunteers, the workers, and the leadership of the organization and the community who came together to want to deal and solve and support the problem of affordable housing. To this day, here we are 30 years later, and like you said, Arlene, it was a very small dent, yet was very important and critical because we are, I believe, saving lives still with these families, yet there are so many more families who need to live and deserve to live in affordable housing. So while I serve on the Bennett Woods Housing Corporation board, and that development is a pillar in the community of the North Hills, Hearth does good work as neighbors in the community, as well as the impact that it has on lives of those families who have gone through the program with Benedictine Place and with Hearth Housing now. And there's a lot more to do. And I am committed to staying involved for as long as you have me. And maybe another 30 years from now, we will solve this problem of homelessness in this community and take care of women who are victims of domestic violence. And we're gonna make this happen. I truly believe in it. So I wonder about you, Kathy. How do you feel about your involvement in Hearth? Because you've been there also from the very beginning.
Yes, and I got involved because my chapter of the American Society of Interior Designers had taken this on as a pro bono project. So I volunteered right away to help. And my chapter had been collecting furniture from clients, from suppliers, from leftover furniture from hotels, you name it. so that we could furnish all of these apartments. And then some of the pieces were a little bit sad looking. So I knew how to do faux finishing. So I volunteered to run workshops to refinish these pieces. So we ended up with a full load of volunteers to do the work and at least one piece for each apartment. And so that was really nice. And then I started setting up and taking care of the auctions, or taking care of the setup and decorating the auctions. And then I was happy to be involved with choosing finishes and paint colors and everything for the new home for Hearth. So I was so devastated when Hearth became homeless the first time, and I was so happy to help with the new home. And I've stayed involved because I love how Hearth treats volunteers. I love how I'm respected, and no one micromanages me. You're trusted and needed. And so I think that's wonderful. And what about you, Barb? You've been there as long as I have, if not longer.
I got involved as a member of the Junior League of Pittsburgh. The league decided that they really wanted to help women and children in need. And so we collaborated with Hearth, and I've been involved for over 25 years now because I think you can truly see the difference that you make. And you can see how you're changing lives and how families are becoming independent. And since we've been open for 25 years now, you can see generational changes. You can see children who are the first in their families to go to college. You can see the cycle of violence being broken and the cycle of poverty ending. And so I really believe in the program, and I've stuck around because I've been encouraging other people to get involved in the program and trying to bring more resources to the table. So I, like you, Kathy, was involved when we lost our first home. I was very involved in helping to raise money for the new home. And once you talk with people and you tell them what we're all about, everybody wants to help, try to find a way. Because again, you can see the changes that the families, the opportunity that they have to make changes in their lives, and how wonderful that is for the moms and the kids. So, you know, I hope that we'll continue to be here as long as there's a need for families in our community, because we're all better off and we're all a stronger community for it. And I know, Steve, you were very involved early on as well.
Yeah, my involvement started with that meeting 30 years ago also. At the time, I was chairing the board for North Hills Community Outreach, and we were invited to be a part of that meeting. So I attended on their behalf along with the executive director, and realized how much excitement there was in a room about developing affordable housing in the North Hills. And we were seeing a definite need with our clients for housing. We were experiencing the need more often than we thought possible in the community that we were serving. So I agreed to serve on the original task force, which was called North Hills Affordable Housing Task Force. Worked with them to develop the plans for a board, put together a board. Ended up being one of the chairs of the co-chairs of the building committee for the first building project. Arlene and I worked on that, and it probably took us a couple of years to get through that process of interviewing architects, working with an architect, hiring a contractor, working on budgets, getting the construction project completed, and we even had some excitement at the end, and that we got volunteers to paint everything because we had a budget crunch. We couldn't figure out how to finish the project without taking the painting out. So Arlene and I were painting captains for a couple of weekends straight too. I've stayed involved ever since, helped search for the new home when Hearth lost its first home. I've been involved in the Bennett Woods board for, I don't know how many years, probably since the beginning of that board also. Barb and Brenda and Arlene, you all worked with me on that board. We still see a great need for affordable housing in the North Hills. Haven't been able to solve that, but I still think there's ways that we can do that, and I think we need to keep working at it. I stayed involved because Hearth has been such a success story, and it's been fun to be part of that. It's been fun to help support that, and I want to see that continue.
Thank you all so much for taking the time to talk to me today. Wanted to let you all know we are putting a picnic table for all of you with your names on it on our property for all of our families to have picnics and enjoy being outside at the facility. So again, thank you all so much, and hopefully I'll see you all soon in person.
Thanks, Tara.
Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
Tara.
Thanks, Tara.
Bye.